This video is for those of you who's trying to gain weight and need to add additional calories to your diet. I'm still getting a lot of emails from women who's trying to gain weight. One thing I would like to always put out there is just because you're gaining weight doesn't mean the weight is going to fall in the right areas of your body. So always keep that in mind. You might like how you look with the additional added weight, and you may not like how you look with the additional added weight. So, just always keep that in mind. Doesn't mean it's going to go in the right areas of the body. So I decided to put together a high calorie drink that you can add to what you're already consuming during the day. Now, if you're trying to gain weight, you don't want to cut calories by just drinking this and not eating what you normally eat. Continue to eat. This is just an addition, like an added addition to what you're already eating. This is not a replacement. And I would say 1 to 2 of these a day is really all you need. You don't want to completely use this as a meal replacement, because that's not what it's for. In my opinion, you don't want to solely rely on getting your nutrients and everything from this. You need food, good whole food. So let's get started. The first thing, we have berries, we have natural peanut butter, we have low-fat milk, and I have a protein powder. Let me tell you a little about the protein powder. I did crazy research on a good protein powder that didn't have a lot of junk and that tastes good, because most people have problems with it doesn't taste right. And then the second problem would be it has a lot of junk calories. So I did research, and everyone told me that this was one of the best ones on the market. It tastes great, which I have vanilla. This is vanilla, but they have, I think, like 6 other flavors. This is vanilla because, anytime you want to mix things with your protein shake, like fruits and all of that, you probably would want to stay with vanilla when you're mixing things with it. Now, if you just using it regular without adding anything, then yeah, go with the chocolate or the strawberry or what other flavors they have. But because I'm adding stuff to this, I decided to go with vanilla. Vanilla would be your best bet. I got this at the Vitamin Shop. Yeah, the Vitamin Shop, but I'm sure you can probably find it at GNC. You definitely can find it online. I only paid $30 for this tub. So, far as the nutrition facts, it only has, and this is one rounded scoop, only has 6 grams of fat, with 2 grams being saturated fat, and it only has 2 grams of sugar. So I did like that about it. The calories you would get from one rounded scoop is 190 calories. Sodium is at 190 milligrams. Cholesterol is at 70 milligrams. And dietary fiber, you have 3 grams. Total carbs, 13 grams. So, yeah. So, like I said, this comes with a scoop. And when you get it, you probably won't be able to find the scoop. All of them had scoops, but you have to sort of fish for it. It was like all the way at the bottom, so I had to stick something in and try to find the scoop. So don't get discouraged, because the scoop is in there. Next is the natural peanut butter. You want to use natural peanut butter. Natural is the best. It comes with a lot of the good oils, as far as the good fats. Like the mono unsaturated has 8 grams. The poly unsaturated, it has 4.5 grams. Trans fat zero, saturated 2.5. And 2 tablespoons will give you 200 calories. So when you go to get the peanut butter, look for the natural peanut butter. And just because it says natural on the label doesn't mean it's natural, because I had picked up Jif, and when I looked at the ingredients, it had palm oil, it had molasses, it had sugar, and to me that's not natural. So I saw this one and I looked at the ingredient label, and guess what? It only has peanuts. So just because something says something on the front of the label, always get in the habit of looking at the ingredients, looking at the nutrition facts and the ingredients. And if you don't know how to read the back of food labels, I have a video that I uploaded a couple of weeks ago, and I'll put the link so you can go back and go over and watch that video. But yeah, this 2 tablespoons give you 200 calories. And total fat 16 grams. It has only 1 gram of sugar, sodium 105 milligrams, so it's pretty decent. It has oil. Anytime you get natural peanut butter, you're gonna see that oil at the top. Don't pour it out. Take it and mix it into the peanut butter, and after you open it, make sure you keep it refrigerated. And I guess because it's natural, you want to keep it refrigerated. Yeah, so make sure you check the label of your natural. This is Smucker's, so Smucker's would be your best bet, because the Jif, like I said, to me that's not natural when you got all of this added stuff in your peanut butter. Let's see what else. And I paid like $3.79 for this, so yeah, natural peanut butter is gonna cost a little more than regular peanut butter. What else? I have mixed berries, and I also have mixed fruit. It's up to you which one you want to use. Berries to me are much smaller, but always remember that fruit naturally has sugar, so it's going to add sugar to your drink. So you may wanna watch it a little on the fruit, but 1 cup will give you about 70 calories, and sugar is like 10 grams of sugar in these fruit. So but it has no fat, no cholesterol, no sodium. You know, fruits is basically fruit. They don't give you a lot of the BS, but like I said, some of them could be sort of high in sugar. So I'll use like 1.5 cups of this, will give me about 100 calories, a little over 100 calories. The low-fat milk for 1 cup is 110 calories. And I don't have to tell you a whole lot about milk, we know, but try to use low-fat milk. You don't want to use regular milk, because then that's adding more sugar, more cholesterol. Like I said, I told you about the protein, so that's about it. So I'm going to use 1.5 cups of the fruit, which will give me about 100 calories. Low-fat milk, I'm going to use 1 cup, which will give me 110 calories. The protein, 1 rounded scoop, will give me 190 calories. And the peanut butter, I'm using 2 tablespoons, which will give me about 200 calories. So let's start mixing. First, you want to stir this peanut butter. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. It doesn't have to be dead on the money, but that's 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And get 1 more. And this 2 tablespoons will give you about 200 calories. They're not bad calories. Now we're going to use 1.5 cups of fruit. And this fruit consists of strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. I'm going to do a little bit more to give us like right at 100 calories. Okay, we're going to use 1 cup of milk, low fat milk. Don't go and get the whole milk. And we're going to do, put this over here. We're going to do 1 rounded scoop of the Syntha. You didn't see that. So this is 1 rounded scoop. Okay, and we're going to blend this together. Plus, I want to make sure this peanut butter get placed down at the bottom. Get it. Okay, and now we're going to blend. So I'm going to come back because this blender is super, super loud. Like I said, it's old school. I need to get a new one, but since this one still works, it's just loud. So, okay, and you get your shaker cup. I got this from Walmart probably about 5 years ago. To me, they rather expensive. I think it was like I checked the prices on these the other day, and this one was like $7. I'm like, for this? But to me, that's expensive. It may not be expensive to you, but I don't know. Okay. And get all of your calories. Don't leave any of your calories. You want all your calories. Get it in there. Get it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay. I'm sort of making a mess here. But, and this is your 600 additional calories. Now, like I said, you can add a little more fruit. You can add more peanut butter, and that will give you even more calories. Just look on the back of the bag, see how many calories is in a serving size, and just add to it, and that will give you more calories. Some of you will need more calories than others, so, you know, just play around with it. And let's see. Not bad. I can taste the peanut butter. I can taste the fruit. Now, if you don't like the taste of this, you can always change things up for your liking. You do not have to follow this recipe. And this is the recipe that I use. I like the taste, but you may not like the taste. So if you don't like the taste, you can switch things out. Like, you really don't have to add anything to this. You could just drink it with just adding juice or milk or something like that. Or you can try a different flavor. Now, I got vanilla because I mix things with mine, but you can try, they have other flavors besides just vanilla. Because normally I would never get vanilla anything because I'm not a big vanilla fan. I usually get chocolate. If I get a protein powder, I would get chocolate. But because I was mixing things with it, I decided to use vanilla, and I like the taste. But like I said, you can change the type of berries you use. You can use mixed fruit. I would stay with the natural peanut butter, and I would stay with the low-fat milk because you don't want to use whole milk. Whole milk probably would make it taste better, but then you're adding a lot more sugars and cholesterol. So I would suggest you play around with it until you come up with a taste that you like. And like I said, you can always add a little more of each of these things to give you more calories. So do what works for you, not what works for anyone else. Do what works for you. If you don't like this, like I said, you can switch it up. So this is just a general idea of how to add extra calories. And this is a good protein powder. I did research on it, so I would suggest staying with this. If you can find one that you like better, fine. You know, hey, I'm not into trying to tell anyone what to do. I'll just give you suggestions and you do what you want to do. So that's about it. So, you know, try your protein shake. let me know how it was, and we'll talk to you later. Holla.